We're holding we're starting with some base and base. Even though we already read it, just to go back into it, we'll start from the two dots. Just to go back into the brisa that we're learning. And then with that, we'll go into the sugyas. What is it? How do we know the idea of tashlum kefil? How do we know the idea of the fact that you have double and you have double, but Torah Tan is Gan specifically, which means a shomer that says that something was stole from him. Says the Gemara, the Torah called Dvar Pesha. It says called Dvar Pesha Kalal. Al Shor, Al Chamor, Al Sev, Al Salmo, Prat. So the rule is Dvar Pesha. Then the detail is ox, donkey, sheep, and clothing. Kol Avei the Chos of a Kal. Klal the Prat to Klal. That's in Klal to Klal. Yet Adan Elakin a Prat. You learn from a Prat. Not Prat. The first Dober Metal to the Gufa moment. All these four things are movable and they are worth money. Kol Dober Metal to the Gufa moment. So anything which is movable and is Gufa moment. Yotz. What do you call to exclude? Karkos Shein Metal to him. Karkos don't move. It's so avoid shuk to the car. It's avoid the vadin of karka. Yotz Shtar Shabish Metal to him ain't Gufa moment. Shtar itself is not money. It's a way to get the money. And so I had this because you're Ehu, see what it says over there, Ehu, and that's how you learn. So that's what we got. So it's like, so now you learn from here. If so, the prat is which animals we mentioned here? Shor and chamor and tzeh. All these animals, they cause tumah when they die. So we'll do only things that have tumah. But birds not, which is very similar to what the Gemara was learning earlier. When we're speaking about the din they learned from the luchos, when an animal is different. So Mimad says, Omar, can you say the achi? What do you mean? How can you tell me you do mention clothing? Clothing don't cause tumah. Talk about animals. Because the animal is mentioned as a prat, and you learn from every prat. Maybe those they ask magumasa, yes, not magumasa, not. So tomorrow, all right. They are called chad echad. What? No. The Adar Savkimu Dalef called Chad Echad called Prad B'Afinavshi Dashirle. As I'm sure you point out, because when you have a few details, why do you have a few details? Each one of them is its own cloud plat. So I learn cloud plat from the shore, I learn plat from the say, I learn plat from the chamor. From each one I learn. So now the Gemara is asking if I learn from the animals has to be something that causes tumah when it dies to exclude what? Birds. Birds not. So why do you have to bring all the details? Just say one of them. And I'll learn from there that's Vitali, Magu Maso, the cause of tumah. Say more, which one you want to write? I need to Rachmona. Because Rachmona short, you want to say short, have Aminot, Davka short, Korv Gabin Mizbech in, Shane Korv Gabin Mizbech, what? Short goes to Mizbech. So it needs to be animals which you Korv Gabin Mizbech. If you say donkey, have Aminot, Kodesh B'chor, in, Shane Kodesh B'chor, like. Donkey has Kedushas B'chor. Something not Kodesh B'chor, not. So that's why I have Shor and Chamar to tell me, even though they're both Kodesh B'chor, as I said earlier, even though I did mention that they're Kodesh B'chor, but I want to tell you that although they are Kodesh B'chor, because you say both, so you could tell you even not Kodesh B'chor. So that's why I know and Kodesh B'chor. How do I know? What's it called? How do I know that it's in Mizbeach? Chamor, because Chamor doesn't go to Mizbeach. Right? So the Gemara says, I need to have all these drushes to tell me these things, but Enechanami has to be Matam Magu Masa. I don't know otherwise. Right? The Gemara told us, we have very similar drusha, Ligabe Bor. It says, V'novel Shuma Shor Chamor. So I want them to tell me, how do you know the birds are there as well? So the Gemara said at the end of Perik Shor Shemach Sapar. So it says the Gemara, I'm so in Kenich Rachmono Shor v'Chamor. Okay, So he explained why I have to have ox, why I have to have donkey. I have to have ox and donkey. Because to teach me not even Kodesh B'chayra and not cover the Gibber Mizbech. Say Lamali, why I have to say sheep? The reason I say sheep, to come and tell me also birds. So maybe just say Oif Torah. Only Torah Dekoif. Why? There is a difference between an Oif Torah and Oif Tameh. To explain, going back to the Gemara. Every animal meaning Chayo and Behemo, is Metame B'mago B'maso. Mago means you touch it, Mas says you carry it. Bird does not. But a bird, depends which bird. Oif Torah does have tumah when you eat it. Not when you touch it, not when you carry it, but when you eat it. Oif Tameh doesn't have tumah when you eat it. So one says, okay, you want to tell me, Shar Chamar said, tell me also birds. So maybe only birds have some tumah. Not the same tumah, but some tumah. That's what it says. Only a Torah Dekoif first. Dumya de said, the Metame B'godi a Beis Ablio. Because tumah on the clothes, someone eats it. But if it's main, the lay smooth tumah. They know tumah. To learn every time go to Beis Ablio, maybe loy. Answers the Gemara, call Ribuyo. Answer no. And very similar to what we said, Gabi Bor. Call is Ribuyo. The word koil is going to tell me that all the things are included. So the Gemara, whenever it says call is Ribuyo, that's the same question, more broad le'ei Gabi Bor. By Maisa Shem, you have to bring to Yerushalayim. You don't dash in Ribuy. Ribuy means Ribuy, you mirab everything. So, you see, you don't do that. What do you do with the money of Maisa Sheni? You can buy it whatever you want. That's klal. Babokor, Batsoin, Bayain, Ubashechar, and the animals, more bigger animals, smaller animals, wine and beer, prat. Whatever you want again. There's something which is similar to a prat. The first the prat is something that is born from something that was born. Come to exclude, as Rashi said earlier, mushrooms. It grows from the ground. It's called pure it has to grow from the ground. By the way, Tess mentioned earlier that here you see that animals considered to be grown from the ground, even though they're not. Even though other places you say maybe not, here they consider to be good to the kaka. So what you see over there, what it says, and I still say that's not a ribu, it's called particular. Called particular is to exclude some things. Answer the word Amri bechoil klolo, koil ribuyu. What says bechoil shetav nafshechol, that's not a ribuy. Koil without a base is a ribuy. Similar to what the Gemara said before. If you by still another answer, koil klolo really calls a klolo. You call it, they called the achal by us by turned by a shomer calls a ribuy. Mikdiktim koil klal particular. We already have klal particular. Tichtiv kiit and isha reu klal. Kesef or kalim prat. Let's be before to explain this better. Let's see the chumash that keep pass the chumash. Surely, chumash. So this chumash is in Pashas Shoftim and Mishpatim. Sorry, it's kedai to see the lashon of the psukim regarding this case to understand the Gemara. The Gemara says like this: Kitin isha reu kesef or kalim nishmar. What we're talking about? Shomer. What tells us Shomer Chino. The guna v'seish and was stolen. If the Ganav is found, he paid 2. The Gemara is going to speak about it in Amud Beis. You don't find the Ganav? He was going to do shvuah. They did not go and harm it. And then it says it called Varpesha, Al Shor, Al Chamor, Al Sel, Salmon, Kol Aveito, Sherma Kiuzed, looking for the Hashem. It goes to before the Dayanim. So what do we have over here? In this parasha, we have 2 times we're mentioning details. We start with Kitein Ishareu, someone gives his friend, Kesef or Kalim, Lishmar. So I have details. Money or vessels. And then it says, Akol Vapesha, this will apply to every case Oh, Shor Chamor says Salmos. It says twice. So it doesn't more. I already have a Klal Prat Klal in the beginning. Bichtichti mikor Klal Prat Klal dichtiv ki teni shireu Klal. It says you give to your friend anything. Kesef kelim money or vessels prat lishra the kolol. V'isakid adechayal kol v'apesha nami l'chal pratu.
Why is that a clause? Should it just a prat?
Kishitaleru, that's klal. You give. That's always a toy. Kishiten, you say you give. You give whatever it is. Then I tell you details and go back to say everything. So I called my pesha, I'm called pratu dos. So lani prat gabi ach klal prat uplat. You want to tell me these details? Sure, says Salmon. Mention that in the original klal prat. I have two klal prats in this parsha. One that says when you give to your friend, and one that says when we summarize it. Just do one of them. I called Rav Peshalam. So why do you have this another klal prat klal? Shema mino ribuyu. Oh, the fact that Torah gives me another klal prat klal in the same parsha to tell me it's not a klal prat klal, it's a ribui, it's a merabah everything. That's what it is. Says the Gemara, Asher the Omar is called ribuye, kol ani prat lamali. So why do I need all the details? Ribui is merabah everything. Except something which is completely excluded, which the Gemara is not going into right now. But why do I have to have all the details? Says the Gemara, the reason why you have the details of what Shor Chamor says Talmud, Chad Lemuti Kaka, one is going to exclude a land, because it's not movable. Chad Lemuti Avodim, which is Hukish Kakores. Chad Lemuti Shtores, which is not Gufrimon. Salmo, what's Salmo going to tell you? Lemuti Dover Shein Mesuyam. Anything which is not Mesuyam. What's any Mesuyam? Rashi learns any Mesuyam that there's no siman. No siman to it. And I don't have a specific siman. So Tyson is bothered by that. Many other Rishonim, who cares about siman? Siman is only a technical thing of if it got lost, how do I find it back? If I own something and I know it's mine, I don't need a siman. Right? So Tyson goes on to explain to me what does siman mean. Either they say it has to be something full, not half. Like for example, a pomegranate, but not a half a pomegranate. Can be only half. Or something that's midov mishkov minion. In other words, right? Brings an example. Let's say he says, "I give you a house full with items." So it's not something specific. That's not Domer Misuya. Okay. So that's what's coming to say. Kol avedo. What's a kol avedo? And before we use it as a cloud, but now we're talking about a ribui. So what does that come to hand? Like Rabchia Barabadom, Rabchia Bava, Rabchia Toyin, Tainus, Aganov, Be'avedo. That's the old base. A person who's told that has got a Be'avedo. What is the Torah's guy's Be'avedo? That he found an item in the street, and the owner comes and says, "Where is it?" He says, "I'm sorry, it got stolen." So then you find out he's lying. So Mishalim Teshlubi Kefil, Shneimar Kol Aveda Shoyoimar. So this extra word is that even at Aveda you would say, "Listen, I'm doing a favor. I found it in the street. I decided I have to give it back to you." If you lie and say it was a gnevo, you do pay double like any other shemer. You learn from this bus to teach you also by Aveda. Okay, so that was the okay, so that was the drashas that we learned from this brayso. So the more really concludes that really the brayso is a ribuyo and you learn everything. That's really the maskana of this brayso. It says more now. It says in the Mishnah. Heichon pigdoin. Person goes to his friend that he deposits something by him. He says, "Where is it?" Omer le avad. He says it got lost. Mashbia achani. I want you to do a shvua. V'omar omein. He says, "Yes, I agree to the shvua." Ve'aydi me'aydi moiso sha'acholoi. They said, "No, it wasn't lost. He took it." Mishalim et hakeren. He pays what? The principal. Hoidol pi'atzmoi. If he admit it, Mishalim keren b'chodesh v'hasham. That's the klal. The person was moide and he was lying b'shvua, so he pays a keren b'chodesh v'hasham. That's the din. That only works by dos atzmoi. Only a person admits that he lied b'shvua, so then he pays the keren. The choimish was done 25%, and the asham brings a carbon. That's what he said was lost. Hecher Bigdoni Omer Nigno, he says it was stolen. Mashbiyochel, he does a shvu of Omer Amen, he says okay. Ve'edi Me'idi Moiso Shignovo, and the Eidim say no, it was stolen. Meshad Tashlumi, they stole it. Meshad Tashlumi can replace double. Hoydem Be'atz Meshad Karen B'chayish Rosh. Right? So what does this Bryce tell me? That the only time you pay double is if you said it was stolen. If the Sherman said it was stolen, and you found that he was lying. But if you said he was lost, so then you don't pay double. Only if you're stolen. You pay double when you say that was stolen. But if you said that was lost, then you don't pay double. Even when Tanis Ganov, only if he did a shvuah. So it needs to be that he says Gneva, and it needs to be that he says a shvuah. These are the two requirements in order to be for this person to pay double. So they want me not immediately. How do we know that? The Torah one. Now we go back to the losh of the psukim that we mentioned before. So we're talking about a shomer. Person gives a shomer to something to deposit. Now listen very carefully to the psukim because the Gemara is going to use it. If you find the ganov, you pay double. Which ganov? What? The ganov himself. If you don't pay the ganov, then he's going to go do a shvuah. That's what it said. So, and what is it? Not then he's going to go, he's going to see, and he already did a shvuah. So the Torah told us two cases. You find the ganov, and you don't find the ganov. So the Gemara, the Torah, not immediately. How do we know this Torah about? If you found the ganov, what is it talking about? No, not like Shula said. Not like a push of shot. That you actually found the ganov. You're talking that the shomer himself is saying to the ganov. We're talking about 30 days ganov. Every time you say 20 times ganov, meaning he lied. Is it 20 times ganov and he lied, or we talking about the actually you did find a ganov? The next puzzle, what does it say? What does it mean? Meaning he lied and there's no ganov. But 20 times ganov because we done it. So the second puzzle is speaking about 30 times ganov. So therefore, the first puzzle is also speaking 30 times ganov.
Yeah.
Meaning what?
But why him? Why not?
Oh no, Yimotza ganov means Yimotza that he's the ganov.
That's not.
Why? Because the next puzzle is speaking about 30 times ganov. So the first puzzle is also speaking about 30 times ganov. Yes.
It's unclear.
What?
This phrase says Im Yimatzi is also talking about the Tony Tanis.
Yeah.
It's not so clear. For sure, Im Lo Yimatzi Gana is Tony Tanis.
Right.
The question is what the first part
right. So the first phrase it says Imatze means 20 times ganov.
Only because
the next one says times ganov.
It's the exact same case. So
Right. Very good. Tiny next phrase. So Im Imatze ganov, the ganov answer because of that. That's actually said. Imatze ganov, you found the actual ganov. I thought you began to answer a little bit 20 times ganov. Maybe it's talking about 20 times ganov. No. The next case, lo Imatze ganov. How rate 30 times ganov? So we spoke about 30 times ganov. So what are you going to say in Imotze? Began to answer because of that. So we have over here a chlek to the brises. One brise learns that Imotze ganov is also 30 times ganov. And the other one who says that, like Toshi says, and they ask why you need two cases. We'll see that in a moment. And the second person says, no, Imotze ganov is talking about when you actually found the ganov. In Imotze ganov, you didn't find the ganov.
Why is it so? I mean, from the Mashmos, why is it so pashut to both prices and Im Lo Yimatze Gana is for sure Tony Tanis Gana.
Right. Oh. So how do you know Lo Yimatze ganov? Then what happened?
Say we have a question about Im Yimatze. Why is it so for sure? Because both prices agree that Im Lo Yimatze is the Tony Tanis Gana.
Right. Because first of all, a push-up shot is the first case is Imotze ganov. You found the guy who pays double. Im Lo Yimatze ganov, the pasuk goes on and says. So then, Asher Yeshiva Lokim Yishlem Shtein Le'er, you pay double. So what case is that? So Bryce understands you don't find the ganov, but he himself got it. Now there are Rimozim. What was pointed out to there are remuzing that's brought down the chidah and the Chazal Sefer brings in Aaron Adler some gematria. If you took the milui of the words Yimot Saganov, Imlo Yimot Saganov, the milui, which means the letters are missing, that comes out the gematria of Turin Tanas Ganov. So how do we know that Turin Tanas Ganov is so pashut? There's some remuzing to it, but the Gemara in Pashut Shah means you have the case Imlo Yimot, so you pay double. So we're talking about Turin Tanas Ganov. Says the Gemara, the Kul Alam Miyos Imlo Yimot Saganov, Turin Tanas Ganov. That everybody agrees that Imlo Yimot is Turin Tanas Ganov. My Mashra, why do you see it for the, like, what does the Pasuk say? Oh, clearly. I mean, you have to see why it's so pushed to the more that they're referring to. But the mashmos, once you know, speaking about Turin Tanas Ganov, so how do you read the pasuk? Im lo yimot Ganov, but what? But he himself stole it. And we know the bishvur. How do you know we're talking about a shvur? The Tanya Mikra Bava still like you. He's going to come to Beis Din, meaning he came to Beis Din before to do a shvur. And that means the shvur. Maybe it means he'll come to Beis Din to do a din. It says shlichus yad by a sherm and socher. And the next parsha says, and then there it says shvur Hashem tiyeh ben shteim. Ma lo olam l'shvur is shvur, avkan l'shvur. So you learn from the next parsha, we're talking about shvur. The first pasuk Yimotze speaks about a gan. Im lo Yimotze v'toy das ganov. Hay dichtiv trei koy. I understand two pasukim. One pasuk is a gan of himself. Another pasuk is toy das ganov. El mando matavar v'toy das ganov trei koy lamali. Why any two pasukim to speak about toy das ganov? Amichad l'mute tanis avod. One is coming to tell you ganov and not avod. So specifically gnevel. Someone who claims they got stolen, they got lost, doesn't pay double. That's what it says Ganam again. Says the Gemara, doesn't have an extra one. We know how does he know to exclude Ovet, lost? It says Miganov Haganov. Because it says Im lo Yimotze Haganov. It doesn't say Im lo Yimotze Ganov. It says Haganov, the Ganov, but not Ovet. He really has a way to exclude Ovad. What does he do with extra hay? You knew from that is regular shaymer. You pay double, that's for sure. But that's what we saw right at the beginning of the parak. If he did Tvicho Mechira, he pays 4 and 5. Why? Because you call him a Ganov. So Ganov, he is the Ganov. He's treated like a regular Ganov, and he has to pay 4 and 5. Says in more, the Mando Mechad the Ganov, one is for each one. The high Ganov, the Ganov, Afkele Mutit and Ezovad, he's coming to say, it's coming to exclude loss from the extra hay. How does he know? What Rabbi Bava taught us, the Antvicho Mechir you have to pay. It's a Hekesh. What's the Hekesh? That you're comparing a Ganov to a Teres Ganov. According to the Mandoma, the one pasuk is a Ganov, and one pasuk speaks about Teres Ganov. So within two psukim, you spoke about both cases. So you makish one to each other. And if you makish one to each other, the same way by a Ganov, Pi Arbo V'Chamisho. By Turin Tanas Ganov, you also pay Arba V'Chamisha. V'Eim Yeshiva Lekesho. Now, what is V'Eim Yeshiva Lekesh? What's bothering me about his Hekesh? I have a problem with the Hekesh. Because Turin Tanas Ganov is Chayav only when he does a Shvuah. A Ganov himself is Chayav even without a Shvuah. So a Ganov himself is Chayav without a Shvuah. He's Chayav Dal Vei. But Turin Tanas Ganov needs a Shvuah. Maybe there's no Dal Vei. Ein Yeshiva Lekesh. Rashi brings another pshat. It's interesting, Rashi, to know Stam and Shas. Let's see it inside. Second wide line in Rashi. Ekeshu. Kivan the Smichel Adad, of course, they're written one as each other. Hani koit kashik Ganav turn Tanas Ganav Ladati. You learn Ganav, you learn turn Tanas Ganav from Ganav. My Ganav Mishad Shur Above Chemisho Im Tov V'Chomocha. My Ganav we pay 4 and 5. After Tanas Ganav Mishad Above Chemisho. You can ask, well, the Ganav answers can have kevel below shvua. Oh, it's a Ganav, there's no shvua. Turn Tanas Ganav should serve shvua. I mean, right to tell the guy that there's a shvua. Ain't Yeshiva Lakish. You're right. There's a question, but an Akish I don't answer. Can they realize me some guys late? We learn the command. You don't answer. You don't say questions on Akish. The Kedam someone say, "Hey, Keisha Kedavasho, some will you be going to Misham Kefil?" But turn that is going Misham Kefil. By a gun, do you pay double? Yeah. Turn that is going to pay double. Yeah, with the shvur. You pay double? Yes. My gun to Chomoch Misham the Shul Chamisho. By a gun, if you did 3 Chomich pay 4 or 5. After that is gun, Chomoch Misham Chamisho. Meaning, Rashi says a different limud. The first limud is you have 2 psukim one next to each other. That's called a hekish. Ganov, turn that is Ganov. Ganov has above Chamisho. Turn that is Ganov above Chamisho. Hey, Ganov doesn't have a shvur. Doesn't have a shvur. Ain't Yeshiva Lakish. The other limud, as Rashi can explain in a moment, is a binyanaf. What's a binyanaf? By a Ganov. He pays kefil, and then he pays above Chamisho. But I tell you there's Ganov with a shvur, he pays kefil, he pays above Chamisho. Then you don't have a question. Because I'm not saying that you learn from Ganov to there's Ganov. You just say a binyanaf. Whenever I find a kefil, I find above Chamisho. Says Rashi, that's not true. Let me say, the Haima Matzinu binyanavu. It's not a hekish. Says Rashi, there's 2 different limudim in Torah. There's a limud of a hekish when one is next to each other. And then you have it nikudo im yeshivim lehekish. It's a straight, strong limud. Then there's a binyanaf. Binyanaf means if I found one thing, I found X somewhere, so I can use X every other place which is similar. It's a binyanaf. It's a much lower limud. And therefore, when the Gemara says acacia, it's not referring to that. It says Rashi referring to the hekesh, and that's the limud, and name is Shiva hekesh. And even if you have a question, they still do the hekesh. There you go. So we'll stop over here because now the Gemara is going to go into the next daf to learn what's bothering now the Gemara. The question that the next daf will start with is how do you know Ganov? There's 2 mandomer. One the mandomer says the first pasuk is a Ganov. The second pasuk is 30 times Ganov. Not the push-up shot, like Shuli said. If it says by Ganov you pay double, by 30 times Ganov you pay double. Second mandomer says no, they're both 30 times Ganov. Why need 2 psukim? Ganov v'lo yovat. So how do you know that Ganov pays kefil? There's no other place in the Torah that says a Ganov pays kefil. So if I don't have your Ganov, where does it tell me in the Torah that Ganov pays kefil? So that's what the Moses is going to come to explain to me. How do I know that a regular Ganov pays kefil?
According to the first mandomer, there's no Ganov Loyovad. It's not the same thing by Avad. He's claiming Avad, you still don't pay kefil.
Yeah, that's it. Which one, though?
The one that says it's talking about 2 different things. We're talking about
20 times Ganov?
like this one is Ganov.
So more said because the extra hey, how Ganov is coming to exclude Bava. It basically filled up all the missing blanks. And then one thing is another pasuk for Ganov. So now the Moses tell me what he said with this one. This is the Yisoid here. We're going into the next stop. When the pasuk says Yimot Ganov, Yimot Ganov, is both talking about Torah Tanas Ganov, or the first one's talking about Ganov, and the second one's talking about Torah Tanas Ganov. Stop over here.